Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of NASCAR's Lost Teams, Red Bull Racing. Red Bull Racing is a former NASCAR Cup Series and Xfinity Series team who competed from 2006 through 2011. This team formed when two Red Bull energy drink founders decided to form a NASCAR team. This is not to be confused with the Formula One team of similar name. The team would be based out of Mooresville, North Carolina, in the former Team Penske race shop. Unfortunately, since Toyota, the OEM that Red Bull Racing had decided to run, didn't start running in the Cup Series until 2007, well, this left Red Bull Racing to purchase some older, slow Dodges off of Bill Davis Racing in the meantime while they raced in 2006. On June 25, 2006, Brian Vickers was announced Red Bull Racing's first full-time driver for the 2007 NASCAR Cup Series season. A couple months later, the team planned to make its debut at Charlotte in the fall, in the Cup Series race, with Bill Elliott piloting a number 83 Victory Junction Gang Dodge, though he did not qualify. A couple weeks later, Red Bull Racing attempted two more Cup Series races in a row at Texas and Atlanta in the fall. For these two attempts, they put former Champ Car driver AJ Allmendinger behind the wheel of the number 84. Both of these attempts ended the same as it did with Elliott, both ending in D&Q. Now, with Toyota and NASCAR fully beginning in 2007, Red Bull Racing attempted to go full-time with two cars, the number 83 of Brian Vickers and the number 84 of AJ Allmendinger. Though, like I said before, this was Toyota's first season in the NASCAR Cup Series, and they were off to a slow start across the board, with basically all their new Toyota teams. This was especially apparent in the essentially first-year team, Red Bull Racing. The number 83 of Brian Vickers showed some speed when the team was able to actually qualify for the race. Vickers, a veteran in stock cars, only managed to qualify for 23 out of 36 Cup Series races in 2007. Behind the wheel of a number 83 Red Bull Energy Drink Toyota, Doug Reichert served as Vickers' crew chief for the 2007 season. When the team could qualify, they were competitive. His best finish was 5th at Charlotte in the spring. That race, Vickers also led 76 laps. Overall, in 23 starts, he scored 1 top 5 and 5 top 10s, finishing 38th in final Cup Series point standings. The number 84 Red Bull Toyota was driven by AJ Allmendinger for the 2007 season. The number 84 had an even more difficult season than the number 83. Though I'm sure some of this can be attributed to the fact Vickers was a stock car veteran and Allmendinger was used to open-wheel racing. That first season, Allmendinger D&Q'd more times than he qualified for the field, D&Q'ing 19 times and qualifying 17. His best finish was 15th at Charlotte in the fall. Things began to really improve for the Red Bull Racing team in 2008, as they retained both Brian Vickers and AJ Allmendinger. Vickers got a new crew chief, Kevin Hamlin, and would return to the number 83 Red Bull Toyota. His best start was 1st at Michigan in the fall, and his best finish was 2nd at Pocono in the spring. The team qualified for every race, and overall scored 1 pole, 0 wins, 3 top 5s, and 6 top 10s, finishing a respectable 19th in final Cup Series point standings. The number 84 Red Bull Toyota, on the other hand, got off to a terrible start, with Allmendinger D&Q'ing the first 3 events of the season, before the team replaced Allmendinger with Mike Skinner temporarily for 5 races, all of which Skinner was able to qualify for, with Skinner's best finish coming at Atlanta in the spring, 27th. The team brought back Allmendinger at the spring Talladega race, fresh with a new silver paint job on his number 84 Toyota. A few weeks later, after AJ returned to the Cup Series, he won the Sprint Showdown, a race that takes all the teams that didn't automatically qualify for the All-Star race, and they race for the final couple spots in the All-Star race. A little bit later in the season, it was announced that Allmendinger would be moving to Richard Petty Motorsports beginning in 2009. AJ's best finish in 20 overall starts in that number 84 Toyota was 9th at Kansas in the fall. Overall, in said 20 starts, Allmendinger scored 2 top 10s. Following race 29 at Kansas, Red Bull replaced him with Mike Skinner for 2 more starts, with the best finish by Skinner of 31st at Talladega in the fall. Then, Red Bull Racing went ahead and put Scott Speed, a development driver, into one of their full-time Cup Series rides, the number 84 Toyota, for the final 5 starts of the season. Speed's best finish was 16th at Homestead. The 2009 NASCAR Cup Series season would end up being the high point for this race team. Brian Vickers returned to the number 83 Red Bull Toyota full-time. Vickers' best start was first 6 times at both Michigan races, California and Richmond in the spring, and Sonoma and Chicago in the summer. His best finish was first at Michigan in the fall. This was Red Bull's first NASCAR victory and Brian Vickers' second. They even qualified for the 12-driver chase for the Sprint Cup, or playoffs as they are called nowadays. Overall, Vickers scored 6 poles, 1 win, 4 top 5s, and 13 top 10s, finishing 12th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Scott Speed became the full-time driver of the number 82 Red Bull Toyota. I gotta say, for not having much time in these size race cars, Speed qualified for all but 3 races in his rookie season in the Cup Series. His best finish was 5th at Talladega in the spring, though this would end up being the only top 5 or top 10 that he would score the entire season. So in 33 starts, he scored 1 top 10 and finished 35th in final point standings. A new decade, the 2010s, and in 2010, nothing much really changed at Red Bull Racing. Brian Vickers would return to the number 83 Red Bull Toyota, but unfortunately, following race 11 at Darlington, Vickers was pulled from the driver's seat for the remainder of the season due to some medical issues. Casey Mears took over for 4 races. His best finish was 22nd at Dover in the spring. For Sonoma, the team had Matthias Ekstrom behind the wheel, scoring a 21st place finish. 10 races later at Richmond in the fall, the team tabbed Ekstrom to drive for them one more time, this time finishing 31st. Boris Said drove at Watkins Glen, finishing 38th. Reed Sorensen made 13 starts. His best finish was 8th at Daytona in the summer. The remaining 5 starts were made by Casey Kane, who was set to take over the number 82 Toyota full-time in 2011. In Kane's 5 starts, his best start was 1st at Homestead in the fall, and his best finish was 6th, also at Homestead in the fall. The only 2 Xfinity Series starts that the team made throughout its entire existence were the final 2 races of the 2010 Xfinity Series season. Cole Witt drove a number 84 Toyota. His best finish was 15th at Phoenix. A couple things changed for the Red Bull Racing team in 2011. Casey Kane joined the team, waiting for his seat to open up at Hendrick Motorsports starting in 2012. On June 20th, the Associated Press reported that Red Bull was leaving NASCAR at the conclusion of the 2011 season. The team's on-track struggles, coupled with an underwhelming outreach to the 18 to 34 demographic, was the reasons for their departure. Now, Kane was behind the wheel of the team's number 4 Red Bull Toyota full-time. His best start was 1st twice, at Darlington in the spring and Atlanta in the fall. His best finish was 1st at Phoenix in the fall. This was the 2nd and final victory Red Bull Racing would ever score in NASCAR. So overall, Kane scored 2 poles, 1 win, 8 top 5s, and 15 top 10s, finishing 14th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Brian Vickers also returned to full-time action to reprise his role as driver of the number 83 Red Bull Toyota, with Ryan Pemberton serving as his crew chief. His best finish was 5th, 3 times, at Dover in the spring and Loudon and Talladega in the fall. They had some strong runs, but just was not obtaining their goals. Overall, in 36 starts, Vickers scored 3 top 5s and 7 top 10s, finishing 25th in final points. For the final 2 races of the 2011 NASCAR Cup Series season, the team fielded the 3rd entry, the number 84 Toyota for Cole Witt. His best finish was 25th at Phoenix in the fall. The team officially closed its doors on December 8, 2011. The race cars, equipment, and owners' points were all purchased by Ron Devine to form BK Racing. After not being in NASCAR since 2011, Red Bull will be returning to the sport to serve as primary sponsor for SVG for 5 Cup Series races, as well as Connor Zilich's Cup Series debut at COTA. They're both driving for Trackhouse Racing, SVG in the number 88 and Zilich in the number 87, both Chevrolets. So, in 324 NASCAR Cup Series starts, Red Bull Racing scored 10 poles, 2 wins, 20 top 5s, and 56 top 10s, with the best points finisher 12th by Brian Vickers in 2009. In 2 Xfinity Series starts, their best finish was 15th by Cole Witt at Phoenix in 2010. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.